depths of the dark web. Dark of the night.
It doesn't look...
They can hear us. They can't see us, Eric.
We are in the dark currently. Nightcrawlers.
Eric, keep it rolling. Welcome to Dark in the Night. This is one of the many cool problems we have now that we don't have a studio.
Even though you aren't able to see us, you can hear us. And by hearing us, you could sort of echolocate our emotional state. We're a little bit pissed. We're a little bit sad, and we're a little bit hype because we can't figure out how to plug the camera in. Now, if you've been watching Dark of the Night for a while, you're accustomed to some of the idiosyncrasies of our broadcast. Sometimes we don't turn the cameras on. Sometimes we have static coming through the mics. But those are some of the special parts. Those are some of the things that make you go, If you're a fan of early 90s R&B, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. I hope everybody out there is having an amazing evening. Looks like we've got everybody in the chat so far. Unopposed Beetle, Hippie Steve, Ed Toast, hello.
Eric, I'm going to ask you to introduce the topic. Piece of shit.
Is there any chance the camera just turned off? Folks, I'm going to sort of introduce the topic. No?
That sound is on camera.
I'm going to... Yeah, this is Dark of the Night Radio, as Unopposed Beetle has said, which is kind of interesting because that's how Alex and I started out. You know, the theater of the mind is a powerful thing. And if you would, I'd like you to just close your eyes and join me in a little bit of a sensual exploration. You see, when I was a child, I was 3 feet tall. And at that time, that was an okay size to be. I was what you called husky, and I used to go into the husky section at the department store, and I used to touch the fabric. Now, Mr. Jenkins, who worked in the little boys section, he used to find me touching the shirts, and he'd say, "Are you going to pay for that?" And then he'd chase me around the store with a coat hanger, and he'd threaten to whip me with it. Well, one day I borrowed my father's handgun. I went into the store, and I waited for Mr. Jenkins to chase me. Sure enough, just like clockwork, as I kind of ran my hand over the fabric, and then he said, "Are you going to pay for that?" And I looked at him and I said, "No, but I'm going to bust a cap in your ass." He said, "What did you say?" And I pulled out that Glock, and I said, "Get on your knees." He did. And I found the one bead of sweat running right down the center of his forehead, and I put the tip of the gun right up against that bead of sweat. I cocked the hammer back. Yeah, Ed Toast says, "Whoa." Yes, it was an extreme incident. As my finger sort of danced on top of the trigger, he was whimpering, and he was saying, "Please, please, don't do this." And I felt something that I can only describe as sort of a psygasm. And I spell that P-S-Y-G-A-S-M, psygasm. Because it was as though my mind had a wargasm. Alex, by the way, I just saw kind of like a flicker of something on the screen.
What was wrong?
Yep.
What was wrong with your hands that he got so offended that you were touching the...
Folks, that's in case you're wondering, that's Sandpiper speaking into the mic. He's joining us tonight after a long hiatus. Welcome, Sandpiper.
Thank you. No, it's really good to be back.
You were saying what did you ask?
Yeah, what was wrong with your hands that he was so offended that you were touching the fabric?
Well, I had chocolate all over my hands.
Oh.
You don't shop in the Husky section just for the fun of it. It's because
Right.
you eat a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love to eat chocolate, and then I would touch these shirts after I was done. Anyways, I didn't end up killing the old man. I was just toying with him. And after a while, after I'd gotten my jollies, I let him to get up, and I left. Well, I learned about a week later that he had a heart attack, and he died. And because it was a week later, I didn't really take responsibility for that. I felt like they were two distinct things that had nothing to do with one another. But now that I'm sort of a grown man, I wonder if there was some connection. Folks, I hope you're out there enjoying yourself. We have 8 viewers watching, and again, it's Unopposed Beetle, Hippie Steve, Ed Toast. I don't know who else. I mean, those are the 8. Well, that doesn't add up to 8 people, so I can't imagine who else might be out there. I mean, I'm watching, and I believe Alex might have a preview on his screen. So that's about 5. So that means there's 3 other mystery men out there, and it could be anybody. It could be Desmond Tutu or the Dalai Lama. Hippie Steve says, "Hey guys, I'm going to eat some wings, so I can't type. You'll have to telekinetically read my insightful banter." And Ed Toast likes that. Sandpiper, have you ever had any sort of a telepathic connection with anyone?
I thought.
And
Oh. No, I thought I had one with my dad.
You thought you had one with your dad?
For a while there.
Let me follow that up with a question, but before I do, I want to acknowledge that Matt967 responded and said, "Me." It isn't, Alex, that you just have to hit the transition button, right, to cut? No. Yeah, so Matt967 is out there. He's one of the 8 keepers of the flame. So you said you thought you had a psychic link with your dad, Sandpiper. What?
I'm not sure I did. A voice in my head, I thought it was me. You'd just be like, I hate you. And I thought it was my dad there for a while.
Okay, so you were saying that to him in your mind.
No, I think I was saying it to myself, but I thought he was saying it to me, if that makes sense. I don't know.
That does make sense. Alex, I want to mention that I'm seeing some crazy sort of psychedelic flashing on the screen right now, which is great. We're getting somewhere. Sandpiper, so you came to believe that this was a psychic connection, or do you think that it was just maybe your subconscious that was telling you these things about yourself?
Exactly. I don't know which it was. The voice was deeper than mine. So and my dad was staring at me at the time. This was around the time that I broke up with my band, sulfuric acid test, and yeah, I was just having a lot of like self-esteem problems, and my dad also was angry at me for other reasons that we don't have to get into again. But
we do want to get into them.
I think we both. Yeah, I think my dad and I were thinking the exact same thing. But that might be as close as I've gotten. I don't know.
I want to mention that Skin Slip just subscribed with a Tier 1 subscription. That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Skin Slip. I can't tell you how much your subscriptions mean to us. It's the fuel in our gas tank that keeps our rocket ship on the road. Alex, it doesn't have anything to do with the frame rate coming out of the camera, does it? turning off the camera off and on. You already did that, right? Sometimes that would, every once in a while, help me. I'm going to try this one more time. Folks, I hope you're... I think that this is a rare opportunity. As I mentioned, the theater of the mind. If you're not...
You know what's crazy?
What?
We're on.
Guys, we're on. Welcome. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for hanging loose. And welcome to Dark of the Night proper. Ed Toast is digging this. Skinsip says huzzah. Well, hurrah to you. Sandpiper, do you want to say hello?
Hello, you guys. It's been a long time. I'm a little nervous tonight, actually, because I wasn't sure whether you invited me here to retroactively fire me or. It's just been a while. It's been a while. I thought they were ghosting me for a while, and I thought maybe this was like a formal public shaming or something. But it seems good. It seems like you guys are.
Well, let's not jump the gun. We want to get into all of that. Just think of me as Alex and I are kind of like two Chris Hardwicks from The Bachelor.
Okay.
Do you know who Chris Hardwick is?
Was he? No.
He hosts The Bachelor.
Okay.
And imagine yourself as sort of like one of the, someone who helps run sound on The Bachelor.
Can I ask something quick, Eric?
Sure. Alex, by all means, please ask anything.
How long has Chris Hardwick hosted The Bachelor?
I think probably in its entire history. I there must be like 21 seasons or something. That sounds hard to believe, but
so forever?
I don't remember it not being on.
But what you guys are saying though is that it has always been hosted by Chris Hardwick.
And he does have a hard wick, and by that I mean he asks the tough questions that no one will ask. Like, for example, I was watching it. I watched the finale last night. And this doesn't have anything to do with our topic tonight, which is voodoo and hexcraft.
Yeah.
But I do, I don't want to keep anything from you guys. I did watch the season finale of The Bachelor last night, and it wasn't because I wanted to. It was because I needed to. And he asked Colton, who was the Bachelor, if he lost his virginity in the fantasy suite, which I thought was pretty brave because Colton had already refused to answer that question during the episode proper, but after the fact, he then he was asked again. And I thought to myself, gosh, this Chris Hardwick guy is a modern-day Edward R. Murrow. Which is kind of like us, Alex, I feel like.
Yeah, if Edward R. Murrow cut, and all respect to Edward R. Murrow, if he cut the shit and stopped, sort of, barfing up beat garbage, if he stopped making puff pieces about all news, it's like, can you imagine making puff pieces about all facts? Like, what on earth would that even mean? It's like, let's do a puff piece on gravity. It's like, well, gravity pulls you down to earth sometimes. It's like, what are you doing, Edward R. Murrow?
You're saying
what are you doing?
You're saying that that's what Edward R. Murrow did?
More or less. I mean, if you are... Here's what I'm saying, Eric. Anyone who's successful is full of shit.
Right. That's a place we can't agree.
Tonight, our subject is voodoo and hexcraft. Thank you for the Nightcrawlers for hanging in there for what I can only describe as the curse of not having a budget.
And the curse of the Bambino.
Yeah, the curse of the Bambino.
And now because when one curse is broken, then it's sort of... it occurs in another place in another time.
So what we have here is a smoke machine to sort of get this studio just full of what can only be called mystery.
And by the way, and that cannot be good for us in any way.
It's not good for any of us, and it shows the level of commitment, Eric, that we all three of us have, especially Sandpiper, who I hope is breathing more than both of us. I really hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah, Sandpiper, can you tell us what your thoughts are of our current residence here?
It's intimate. I wasn't. I didn't know what was going on when you got rid of the old studio. I thought maybe you moved into one of the big skyscrapers on the skyline or something. And it's not what I expected.
That's not good. Well, we
Is
set
that-
off the smoke alarm.
I mean, in a way, that's a good thing because it shows that the batteries
works.
in that thing work.
This is this is live TV, folks. You got to kind of roll with the punches, and we didn't expect that to happen. I don't know what you expect to happen when you blow off a smoke machine in a basement, but apparently that's what happens. Smoke machines. It's good. We ought to get a kickback from the smoke machine company.
Yeah. By the way, their name is Testco, which is kind of disheartening.
Yeah. Tesco, if you're watching out there, then send us a check in the mail because we just proved that your product is great and that if there were some sort of a fire, then your machine would help us know to get out of the building. And now that Alex has taken the batteries out of that Tesco, we'll have no idea if the place is burning. So,
Voodoo and Hexcraft. Nightcrawlers, submit your questions about Voodoo and Hexcraft. We were having kind of a robust conversation before we started to encounter some of our kind of the hex on this show, which is that just recently the Library of Congress changed the spelling, the official spelling of voodoo, to I believe VODOU, which is indicating that voodoo is not what we thought it was. There are two different separations of voodoo. There is what is called New Orleans voodoo, which is what some of the more familiar imagery that we think of, voodoo dolls, zombies, kind of some of the combinations of culture that we think of. It comes from New Orleans voodoo.
Right.
Now, voodoo, and I did pronounce that differently just now, comes from Haiti, and it is much less of a malevolent religion. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to let them be at peace. What I want to talk about is the kind of hexcraft, voodoo, that is a threat to us, that can be used against us.
right.
And that would come from New Orleans.
New Orleans. It can also come from the mountain country on the East Coast. There are many sort of folk regions that use hexes and what are called poppets to bring curses upon people. And I think a lot of us can look at our daily life and say, there's something going wrong here. Could it be a hex, right?
Yeah, that's one interesting thing about voodoo is that there are not all of the world religions can you look at and say, well, that's not only like something that people believe in and it gives meaning and purpose to their lives, but it's also like kind of like a awesome magical power. And voodoo is one of those things where you're just kind of like, well, it happens to be a religion for a certain set of people, but it also is just kind of like, man, let's get a hold of one of those little voodoo dolls and stick something in it, and that'd be a cool power to have. I guess it's kind of like wizardry in a way. Now, Sandpiper, I can tell you're chomping at the bit to kind of chime in about your experience with voodoo, I want to ask you. I want to ask you if you've had any direct experience with voodoo, but I also want to ask you, where have you been for the past 3 months?
It's interesting because you guys weren't answering my calls. I thought maybe there was some bad blood or something. I didn't know. I wanted to give you guys as much space as possible, kind of let it blow over a little bit, but I had to get another job at a Mediterranean restaurant, and it's been rough. I have kind of I'm not in good standing there anymore. I got the manager was just on my ass there for a while. He would send me pictures. I'd wake up to pictures of like greasy POS screens. You're supposed to Windex the screen at the end of the night, and I guess I wasn't doing that. And he would just send me. I don't know why he's getting into the place at 4 a.m., but he would send me these photos first thing in the morning of just like dirty POS screens. There are closing duties that I was supposed to fulfill, and I didn't do that. So I got demoted to dishwasher. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not doing any video work anymore. I'm not doing any of that. I'm doing cleaning of dishes.
Well, all that's good to hear. And
I don't know how it that's what I've been doing the past 3 months. And it's been, it's like $15 an hour. It comes out to that.
Look, as we've been bottoming out, and I think, Eric, we can both agree that we've both completely bottomed out.
Mm.
If this, if our lives were a car that we rented, I would be very concerned about how much I was going to have to pay for ruining the car. Because, believe me, we have had a really, really poor few months. And so it's exciting.
So you guys have had it bad?
We have, but
okay.
hearing what you've gone through really kind of gets me going.
Well,
All right.
you have a storied past, Sandpiper. You were a pornographer. You were
not exactly.
Well, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes and no, but mostly yes. But nevertheless,
I was a webcam model.
Right. Well.
So
potato, but your father is a wealthy. What does your father do exactly?
He's an art dealer. He does a lot of things. He's entrepreneur type.
And you at one time were supposed to make a business connection between us and him so that we could get this show financed, and that didn't happen.
Well, I was hoping that could still be a possibility. I have been reaching out to him. He did say. He did say Merry Christmas. That was the last time I talked to him, was Christmas. He said Merry Christmas to me.
Well, we've lost interest a little bit in your father and your relationship with your father ever since the deal fell through, where you were supposed to sort of get us some funding for the show. But nevertheless, the point is that I don't know where you got the idea that we were going to pay you anything to be on the show, because you've racked up credit card charges that we still are paying for.
But it was all for the show. It was all. I know you had beef with the Arby's, all the Arby's, but it was.
The topic tonight is voodoo and hexcraft, and I want to quickly sort of move on to. I'm going to sort of smoke it up a little bit, and I want to. And I'm sorry, Eric, that it's so close to you, but you have to understand it's coming right to me after you.
Well, Alex, I know that. As a sort of midnight cowboy, you have a sort of a mystical connection with smoke machines.
Yep.
And so I know that you got a hair trigger on that thing.
Yep.
Now, Alex, you mentioned a lot about voodoo and about kind of the historical roots of voodoo.
Yep.
And one of the big features of voodoo that people always comes to people's mind is zombies.
Yep.
Now, what do you know about the historical roots of zombism?
So here's one thing that's important to note, and the reason we said voodoo in the show topic, and I am just going to sort of pump this just a little bit more.
Good God.
So the reason we mentioned voodoo in the show topic is that I think it's almost, even though it's I think sort of incorrect to associate zombies and voodoo dolls with actual factual voodoo. I think it's almost misleading to the layman to not mention voodoo when you talk about zombies and voodoo and what we think of as voodoo dolls or puppets. But in actuality, zombies are, while part of the same origin country of voodoo, Haiti, are not verbatim associated with voodoo. They are a what we would call a pagan Haitian folk ritual based on actual not to say actual factual twice within the same sort of run of sentences, but
That's okay.
actual factual possibilities. You can make a zombie. You can inflict chemicals upon someone. And just to sort of lay things out, we are going to do that. We're going to do that to you.
Well,
We're going to do that to him.
Well, we are going to do that to him, and that's part of why...
That's not...
Well, just hear us out. That's part of why we asked you to bring over some liquid dish soap. I'm assuming you have it in there. Alex, grab Sandpiper's the dish soap out of his book bag there.
Great.
And we will get to making a zombie out of Sandpiper, which is kind of exciting.
That's not...
So I am just sort of going.
See, I did think this was going to be a formal firing. That's fine.
What is going on?
I mean, I am sort of just going through. I'm knocking over my own drink, and I'm just kind of going through his bag.
Okay. Oh,
That
God.
is...
Okay. Well, you're supposed to check.
Why do you have a gun, Sandpiper? You're supposed
Well, that's... there's it's for protection, obviously.
You're supposed to... We frisk you at the door.
Wait. Okay. Something just fell out of this.
What are those?
All right, well, that's not...
What the hell are those?
Guys, that's not... That's...
Are you seeing this right now?
Um.
What are those?
That's embarrassing. It's
Why-
embarrassing, but it's not anything...
100%. I'm looking at Jurassic Park action figures that have been modified to look like Eric and I.
Wait, I want to get this in front of the camera here.
Guys, that's not... It's not...
Are you serious right now, Sandpiper?
All right, so what happened was we weren't hanging out.
100 fuck. Well, I gotta get a quick fuck you in here.
It's...
Because you made us. You made us. You made both of us.
Guys, this isn't... Is that weird? I mean, is it?
It's
Well,
not. It's
I was
not cool.
I was a pseudo fan before I even worked with you guys.
These are voodoo dolls.
They're not. They're devotional action figures. Listen, okay, so I, as an act of rebellion, I take those to the dish pit. I play with them in the dish pit. You didn't. I got a demon here. These are. these are ways of glorifying the dark of the night as I see it. And yeah, I have them in my bag. So what?
Let me ask you this. If you stick a needle in one of these things, are we going to feel pain?
That's hard plastic. You don't stick needles in. That's not a voodoo doll. Devotional objects.
Answer him.
Well, I'm not I don't know Hexcraft. I don't do that.
Alex,
So.
Look, we're going to... St. Barbara, I want to say I trust you, but after the credit card fiasco, I don't know. Alex, I think we need to run these through some sort of a test. So why don't we...
Guys, it's not... I have an adversary. This is just action figure play.
Do we have a
that I was
lighter
doing.
or anything? Can we burn one of these things to see?
Okay, I do have a lighter. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go get the lighter.
Don't burn them.
Why don't you suck it? Because all of us are in trouble now. If you did what I think you did, we're all gonna be sucking it.
What is it you think I did? I don't get it. What do you think I did with those?
Why don't you tell him,
Why
Eric?
would I want you? Why would I want to cause you harm? Guys, I was glad when you called me. I was glad that I was going to come here.
You thought that we were going to pay you money.
Okay, no. All right, listen. I just thought, okay, when I lost my job at the Boom Boom Room, this is what they did. They called me in. It was
What's
raining.
The Boom Boom Room?
Boom Boom Room, high class cocktail lounge, Chelsea.
Is this another one of your...
No, I was a busboy and I did some things.
What?
I did some things on the side, but what I'm saying is when I got
God.
Manolo called me in.
Manolo?
He called me in and we had to have this long talk before he pretty much just got to firing me. And it was just kind of like a tease. You guys came out of the woodwork after 3 months and what? Has it been 3 months?
Are we talking about the same Manolo that has like the mustache? The little guy?
No. This guy's Dutch.
It's a Dutch Manolo. Oh.
I mean, he seemed Dutch. I don't know.
Look. All right, Alex. So, what do you got?
Guys, I'm telling you, it's not
I brought
weird.
in a ton of shit
Just
to use.
I'm gonna look at the comments here. The hippie Steve is saying he turned a blue Power Ranger action figure into a voodoo doll of Matt in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So,
See?
apparently that's possible.
Yeah, you you stupid piece of shit.
This is Chris Pratt. This is Chris Pratt and retrofitted. I just needed.
You stupid fuck!
Just needed an anthropomorphic. I
Ed
play
Toast-
with these things.
Ed Toast is on your side, Sandpiper.
Thank you, Ed Toast. Thank you.
He's saying it's some G.I. Joe level. It's complimentary as hell, is what he said.
Yes, thank you.
And Skinslip says, I'm envious. I wish someone would make a voodoo doll out of me in 1/18th scale. It says, sounds like Skinslip has some experience with just proportions of action figures.
I think these are probably smaller than 1/18th of you. Maybe not.
Light yourself.
Okay.
It doesn't really. It doesn't work. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do, and this is an unexpected moment of testing Hexcraft, I am going to try to hurt Eric's doll. No, you know what? I'm not going to do that, Eric.
What?
I'm going to hurt my doll.
What?
I'm confident. I'm
because
confident in this. This is
I'm
not
gonna
going to
hurt
yield
my
anything.
doll.
Yeah, but how are you... What you're going to know when you're doing it.
Right.
And so you could be sort of psychosomatically feeling the pain.
Right. So I should do you.
Probably. Even though I don't want to be hurt.
Okay.
And if Sandpiper is right, then I won't be hurt. And if he's not, then we have his gun and we can just blow his head
You're
off.
not going to hurt me. And what was that about the... What's this about the you said something about a zombie?
Yes, we are going to make you a zombie.
I'm going to do Eric.
Okay.
Why don't you try not to be a piece of shit and hold this mic to my mouth? This is Eric.
What?
It is his doll. And
Well, we
just because I want to keep his head up, I'm gonna light his skull.
we don't know that.
See, this is gonna be worse than this. All right.
Okay,
You're full of
I've stopped.
Full of shit, dude.
Yes, I know. I know, because the instant you stopped, I stopped feeling pain.
Okay, you son of a bitch.
Dude, okay. Okay.
You stupid
Eric, come on, dude.
son of a bitch.
Mia, mama.
Sandpiper has officially... Sandpiper did make Poppet Hex dolls.
I bought it. I bought it at a Rite Aid.
That's
what works on
powerful.
us.
Yeah,
You guys, is this a hazing? This is a phase 2 hazing?
No, listen to me. If this was a hazing, I'd be Frenching you.
Okay, I'm already vulnerable. You've already embarrassed me by exposing my gun and my figs.
If this was a hazing, I'd be squirting jalapeno juice into your, whatever, and then I'd be like, now here's some milk poured in to cool off.
All right, so what are you guys doing? So, Eric, you've
broken our trust.
You've broken it.
That did not. Also, the burning the plastic is probably worse than the
Smoke.
The smoke, right?
Well, that's true.
Well, now, I mean, the only way to be 100% sure that this is, and believe me, we're already 100% sure. Eric is going to take this little man who has a little hat on, who is 100% me, and he's 100% a voodoo doll. A what is colloquially known as a voodoo doll, and Eric is going to test whether... Don't do the dick, because, and here's why. I only did the dick because it just, from a staging point of view, it made more sense.
Oh, it was the dick?
Yeah, I did the dick.
Oh. Right.
So that's
no.
That's what you claim to have felt. Is that what you claim to have felt, that you're a burning sensation in there?
Big time.
We all felt Eric's dick when that was happening.
Okay, here we go.
I'll tell you whether it's in the shot. Okay, it's not. It's okay. I'll cut to the wide here. Fuck
all
my
right.
face! My brain! My brain! No, son of a bitch! My brain! In my hat! I can feel my hat burning! Oh, my hat! My brain! Why are you still doing it?
I just think it's unfair what you guys are doing.
Because it did.
No, this is you trying to justify letting me go. I think.
That worked on me?
It's just not honest. I mean, it's not honest. It's not. And what is this? Is it just what is this? What is this? Huh?
What is it?
I don't know. If you burn that, what would that hurt? What would that hurt?
No one can see what this is.
It's probably.
It was my demon. It was my demon effigy.
Eric, sorry.
There's no.
You gotta hold it up to the camera so everyone can understand.
What, you think that was a foil? I'm playing with action figures. This is not voodoo. This is not. I'm not hexing you guys.
Sandpiper claims that because those two action figures were next to a dinosaur,
it's a demon. That represents a demon, just as Chris Pratt represents you and Eric.
Chris Pratt represents more than me and Alex.
I was fighting. Okay.
He represents.
I know
everything that's good about masculinity.
If you think that I'm going to buy hook, line, and sinker your horse shit.
I missed the show. I missed what I imagined were the behind the scenes of the show. You guys fighting these things.
There's only one way that you can make. You have sinned against me.
Oh my gosh, this is.
You've
all
sinned,
right.
You've sinned against. Look, we don't think of ourselves as high and mighty. We don't think of ourselves as some sort of,
Well, no, and I agree. I agree with that, but I feel like you might be deluding yourselves a bit here, trying to make yourselves feel better. Maybe you want to
Look,
cut the ballast,
all right,
as it were.
No. Let's go to the comments here a little bit. We've got Weenus Grabber says Sandpiper wants you to destroy those dolls, so it destroys you both. His ultimate plan to steal the credit card so he can spend all your guys' money.
Who's this Wiener? Who?
His name is Weenus Grabber.
Weenus
and he's
Grabber.
a big fan of the show.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
So
all right.
why don't you crawl up my dick and just wither away on it?
Weenus Grabber, I assure you that's not what is happening here. I'm not a greedy person. I eat a lot.
The hippie Steve says, who does Sandpiper know that could have enchanted them, though?
Exactly.
There's
Thank
a
you.
secret party he's protecting. We have to find out who. So, Nightcrawlers, if you're out there and you have access to a computer, I'd encourage you to try and find out and figure out, use that computer to try and see if you can make a connection.
Okay,
to
I'm
who
not going to.
Sandpiper's
I'm not going to
resources.
say. I'm not going to say that you guys didn't feel the sensations that you felt, because I know you have very. I'm going to choose my word very carefully. You have impressionable minds, but that's what's needed. That is what is needed for paranormal inquiry, I think. You have to be very sensitive to these things. But whatever you felt was not. It had nothing to do with my
Sandpiper,
figs.
you have been making webcam videos for paying sex customers. You clearly have a heart of stone. And so you're capable of anything.
There's only one.
These men, my clientele, were sexually inactive. Nothing. It was. They looked at Sailor Boy Twerk Beast.
What? That's the name?
Sailor
Boy Twerk.
That was one of my characters. Other characters, I'm not even going to get into that. But this was not. This was a public service to sad guys.
You're upsetting Alex.
Okay.
Well, here's a public service. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and you.
Look,
and I don't. I'm mad. I'm mad.
Alex, you were mentioning that there's some sort of a penance that Sandpiper.
We have been revving up our. We don't use our smoke machine every episode because it is more money.
All right.
So, in this smoke machine are the ingredients for what are, according to folklore, what turns a human being into a zombie. And if you're kind of getting the message from Eric sort of playing around with a firearm, we're not asking you to put your face right up to this smoke machine so that we can turn you into a zombie. And that is the penalty. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. I follow them.
As disturbed as I am about what's happening to him right now, I am in total agreement with him, Sandpiper. And you do need to put your face into the smoke machine. Now, I know that we have sort of a history of making you do things that are exploitative. I know that Peter's Legacy is something that actually you've you've mentioned having nightmares about. Actually, somebody mentioned Peter's legacy in the comments a minute ago. But this is a different legacy. This is a legacy to set things right.
You need to do this!
Do I come back?
What?
We will.
Do I come back?
We will bring you back right afterwards. It'll almost be something stupid for us to do because you'll come back so quickly.
All right. Yeah.
So it's basically
Okay.
we need you to get as close to the smoke machine as you would sort of a children's toy that you'd look through like toy binoculars.
So you want my eye there? You want to smoke my eye?
No, I think, but you need to get as close to it as you would binoculars or a pair of glasses. So, just so that, there's no free roaming camera, but we do have to sort of. I wish it wasn't.
Can you get in closer on a close up and
all right.
if you frame it up, I can hold it.
Okay, so we're gonna ask you. We're gonna ask Sandpiper. Okay, sit down. Sit down, Sandpiper. So, all right. You can. What we're gonna do, and this is like, you don't get a last request, but this is the last request we're giving to you. All right. Push this button on the back. The green button. So I wish I'm gonna turn on just so that people can see. It's not an execution, but it is the end of all things for Sandpiper. I'm going to turn on these lights so that we can see a little bit better the destruction of a man. And so if we're going to do it in this wide shot so that people can see that there's, I think you can see a little bit of that shine of the. So if you just lean over and don't get close to my pants, but if you could if you could lean over my pants.
So what is it? What is this? What did you choose?
It is the venom of a pufferfish, and just juice. So if you could sort of get into it. All right, you can. I will let you lean on me for a functional. He's leaning on my leg in case. Oh, he's not human anymore. Oh my God, he's changing.
Oh no.
Sandpiper, are you all right?
How long was I up?
You were not out at all.
What did I do?
You literally just leaned back, almost like you just rubbed your eyes.
So I wasn't. You didn't have to put me down or anything.
We didn't have to put you down.
Well, there you go.
Welcome back. You're back.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Well, here's the.
That was nothing. I mean, that was. It's amazing they make movies out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
amazing.
this is the thing. We would never hurt you. We would never hurt anyone. And I would never go to the bathroom in a man.
Okay.
Not in a man.
Folks, that this is why our work is so important, is because we have what it takes, and by Sandpiper's act of courage there,
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you.
Alex and I are courageous. In fact, the most courageous, since we sort of suggested this entire scenario.
I can't believe we did that.
We all did it.
We all did it, but by all of us, I mean only us two.
Right. Are there any comments here? Hippie Steve said, Peter's legacy made a lasting impression on us all. In 20 years, we will ask ourselves, where were you when Sandpiper's Peter's legacy that alien?
I'm going to go nuts. I'm so happy that tonight was a night where justice was done, Eric?
But I wouldn't have called it justice, though. Because, you still... That was to restore trust. You don't actually believe that those were deliberate, means to hex you, right? I wouldn't do that. I want to work here. This is probably the most interesting thing I have going on right now.
Have you ever been to a city toilet?
Don't you find it a little bit coincidental and serendipitous? On the night we talk about voodoo and hexcraft, we open your bag, we find a gun, and we find 2 dolls that look exactly like the two of us. So
what?
You don't feel like in a paranormal...
What do guns have to do with voodoo?
Yeah,
first of all,
yeah,
and second of all, you asked what was going on in my life. I told you you need to entertain yourself in the service industry. And how do I entertain it? They take my phone away when I get to work.
Aren't there chicks that work
I'm in
there
the dish pit now, but yeah.
Why do you have a gun? I'm almost realizing.
Yeah,
it's almost the only question we should have asked the whole night.
Well, there's been there's been some happenings. There's been some weird things ever since I started playing with the...
Is someone threatening you at work, Sandpiper? Is somebody bullying you?
Well, yeah, the manager has been... he's been nickel and diming, but I wouldn't call him violent.
Because if someone bullies you and threatens you,
mm-hmm. You have it in your power to do something about it, I think, right?
We're not going to do it on your behalf, but just for our own behalf.
I think I've been summoning demons in my
What?
play.
Look, this is really off topic.
No, I was explaining why I had the gun,
look, the show is over.
What? We've got like 5-6 minutes.
Look,
left.
I don't have, and I know, I'm exhausted.
Did you not sleep well last night?
No.
Why didn't you? You said you were going to go to bed at 1 a.m. because I was like, do not stay up till 5 in the morning the night before the show like you did last week.
Look, I have to, Eric, I only have time for a certain amount of revelations every night. And
you stayed up all night watching infomercials.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's besides the point. We filled an entire bathroom tonight with revelations.
I guess I don't really know.
So the fact that we've been accusing Sandpiper of summoning demons and he's denied it, and the last couple minutes.
Well, no, that's not what I. Okay,
but in the last couple minutes, you're saying that there is something supernatural going on.
No, I think there's been some weird happenings. I'm not contradicting
what
I said.
I don't have time. The show is over.
Okay, well, I wasn't contradicting what I said. I think the
doesn't matter.
I think the act. It's I'm not gonna. Yeah, I won't get into it.
We're all simpatico because I heard long ago, a guy named Rick Moriarty. He had a radio show that I liked, and he said people don't like to hear you argue on the radio, and I imagine the same thing is true for live stream.
Yep.
They want to see us get along.
Yep.
And
Okay.
So let's read the Nightcrawler's Creed.
Sandpiper, you haven't really been here since we constructed the Nightcrawler's Creed.
No,
so you
I haven't.
especially need to get in on this.
All right, folks. Man, it's just been a pissed off night, and we need to come together with the Nightcrawler's Creed. So here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, Alex, why don't you read it and we'll recite it afterwards.
We are the Nightcrawlers.
We are the Nightcrawlers.
We will always search for the paranormal truth.
We will always search for the paranormal truth.
Friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty.
Friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty.
We'll stay together through thick or thin.
We'll stay together through thick or thin.
I'll show you everything
I'll
show you everything
with arms wide open.
with arms wide open.
Here comes a ghost.
Here comes a ghost.
I'll stab you.
I'll stab you.
Let's all say one paranormal thing we're thankful for before we end the show.
Okay.
Sandpiper, you go first. You became a zombie for a second. So you get to go first.
I became a zombie. My girlfriend is into candles right now, and she has one that she burns in the kitchen, and I love that scent, but there's something else there. I just haven't, I'm not as sensitive as you guys, so I can't see it. The smell is good. It's like a pine,
Eric,
or it's
what
like
are
a cedar.
Eric, what are you thankful for?
Well, string theory tells us that the multiverse contains dimensions untold. And that means that Chocobo from Final Fantasy are real somewhere. So that is what I'm thankful for.
I'm thankful there's only, one. There's only one Dracula. There's only one Frankenstein. There's only one Wolfman. Because if there were more, I would be the one to stop them.
That would be a heavy
Nightcrawlers.
one.
Thanks for watching the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for your support.
Thanks for hanging in there through what we call our diaspora season.
And we'll be back next week with another bangin', what we would call a bangmeister. Thank you for joining us, Sandpiper. Thank you for coming back into the fold.
Yes, I'm very glad to be here, and thank you to those of you who stood by me and championed my cause. I don't think my paranormal, what I was thankful for, was very good. It was
fine. It was fine. All right. Folks, we'll see you out there in the dark. Good night.